Here's a conversation that I bet I won't see on the news in my country. Should a company that is registered in an offshore tax haven, or I would go even beyond that, I would say a company that is not registered in Romania and doesn't contribute a substantial amount of tax to the Romanian government, should it receive bailouts? Because I am willing to bet there are going to be bailouts in my country, and I'm willing to also bet that a lot of companies which aren't registered in Romania and they skim the taxes, they're going to get the money. You know who's not going to get the money? The people aren't going to get the money. Now, I understand that the government is not to blame for the virus. I doubt that there are some Romanian witches out there stirring a pot and summoning the virus. And we also don't have wet markets here, but I will tell you that if we did, I would definitely buy her from a wet market. But my point is, I do not blame the government for the virus, but there was a certain deal made, a certain unspoken contract, if you will, where the government says, we will fuck up your job, we will tell you to stay at home so you cannot work, but we will take care of you. In exchange, we will take care of you. Just shut up, don't talk about it, right? No one is going to, we, the government, is going to take care of you. So, at least in the United States, the government says, all right, we're going to give people $1,000. Now, obviously, that is not the government giving people $1,000. That is their taxpayer money. They paid in taxes for those money. They are basically giving you back some of your taxes so you don't starve to death. And by the way, exactly as I have said in a previous video, what to do with that money. You should pay your mortgage. You should pay anything that you need to pay, like electricity, gas, anything that you have not paid, you should use the money to pay it. Because when this is over, the government has said, all right, well, you don't have to pay your loans to the banks for the next couple of months, or you don't have to pay your rent for the next, like there were some states that actually said this. But you know what? When this shit is over, at the end of this, you're going to have to pay the next payment for the last 3 months. So let me understand how this works. Like let me just wrap my brain around this. So the government tells people to stay at home, not to work. And then when people can finally go, like the next month when they finally go, they're supposed to not only find a job, but also have the money to pay for the next 3 months. Like, are the banks really that stupid? Are the banks really that greedy? Like, you're going to get your money, you sick son of a bitch, but allow people to breathe a little bit. But no, they want money from the government. They want bailouts from the government. And at the same time, they also want the people to be able to still pay as if nothing happened. Like, listen, this is what really pisses me off, because a lot of people confuse this with socialism, and they say, oh, it's like socialism, you get free shit. No, it's pretty much as if I were to have a meth lab in my basement, and the gases from my meth lab go all the way up to the store that is on the ground level, and people cannot shop there anymore, so I did damage to their business. Well, now, besides the fact that I have to go to jail, I also have to pay damages for fucking the people's business. Isn't that how it works in a normal capitalist society? If you damage someone's business, you pay those people for doing damages to those businesses. That's normal, right? Like, am I smoking something? Probably not the fumes, I hope. So what ends up happening is that in this case, the government damages people's businesses, so now the government has to fix it for the damages that they caused. It's right? But no, it seems that the little guy is going to get effed in the A again, while the big corporations, they're the only ones that get the bailouts. It seems that socialism does exist, even in the most capitalistic nations, but it's only for the very wealthy, for the very rich, and for the people who don't work. And they're on social welfare. That's it. Like, if you're a middle-class person, like a guy in the middle of the economy, you're the one that gets effed. It is really upsetting to see what is going on. Like, there should have been, like, okay, if you make a law so that people don't have to pay rent, or they don't have to pay mortgage for the period that the quarantine is in effect, then make also a law so that they can't charge you the next month for the previous months, because then you didn't do anything. You just made people sit in their homes complacent and quiet. Why not make those 3 months where people are not supposed to pay the mortgage? Why can't you add them at the end of the loan? So if you have like a loan for 1 year and you don't pay the next 3 months, well, then you're going to have the same loan but for 1 year and 3 months, so that people can at least manage to get a job and pay it. It's not like people are not wanting to pay it. It's not like this is because people didn't foresee this or whatever. And you know, like, what I really hate? Like, what I really hate the most when I see journalists saying, oh, well, you should have thought about it. Like, you should have saved money for a rainy day. Man, I look at some of these companies. For the last 10 years, since the last crisis, they were going up and up and up. Like, they were constantly making profits. They were constantly making billions of dollars in profit. If they would have saved at least $1 billion per year out of those tens of thousands, or you know what, like, save 10 millions a year. If they would have saved 10 millions a year, now they would have had 1 billion in order to deal with this 2-week shutdown. So why is it like every single time is the little guy, is the taxpayer that constantly has to save money? Like, it's the obligation of the average Bob and Joe to constantly save cash, because when the crisis hits, he's going to be affected. It's not going to be the big businesses. You know, in the European Union, the banks even have a clause that in the case that they might go bankrupt, they can seize your assets legally. Like, if you have money in the bank, your saving accounts, like granny and grandma, if they have some money in the bank can just say, yeah, we're going to do $1 billion. And they can just seize your assets. They probably can do that in America too, but people have guns there. And they will go with a gun to the bank, not to rob the bank, but to take his money back. It's really, like, it is so disgusting when you look at these things. So, how would I personally do it? Like, how if I was the government, how would I fix this? Well, I'll tell you how I would fix it. All those trillions of dollars that they keep paying to big corporations, give it to the little guy. Give it to the taxpayer. Like, if you get $1,000, Trump bucks, or whatever they're called, what are you going to do with them? You're probably going to spend on your mortgage. You're probably going to hoard them if you don't have a mortgage, because you're thinking it's like, okay, rainy days are coming. But if you were to get like $4,000 or $5,000, you're going to spend it. You would spend it, so you would spend it and reinvest it into the big businesses. Instead of doing like this trickle-down shit, why not do it bottoms up for a change? I have seen so many disgusting things, by the way, where a corporation got money in order to not fire, like they got the stimulus package in order not to fire their workers. Do you know what they did? They took the stimulus package and fired the workers anyway. Who the fuck keeps contacting me? Like, honestly, I'm so pissed off right now. Like, the entire day, no one contacts me. Absolutely no one. The moment I start making a video to rant about something, is it really necessary that you call me right now? I swear to God, one more call and I'll make you famous. I'll put you in the news. No, but seriously, you know, all jokes aside, this is why I will also never agree with socialism, because the ideology is fundamentally flawed. It says that you do not know what to do with your own money. You do not know what to do with your own wealth. So you need to give it to the compassionate and empathetic government, which is then going to redistribute the wealth among the people. And when you look at what happens, it's like, well, the government is also made by greedy assholes. Like, they are still human beings that have managed to get a chair into power, and they are still having greed. They're still self-interest people with enemies and friends, which they need to take care of their friends so that they can keep their enemies at bay. And you look at other socialist nations, like Zimbabwe, or South Africa, or anywhere around the world. What happens when the government finally gets their hands on the people's property? Like, the white farmer hoards the wealth. We need to take the farms away from the white farmer. They give it to their friends. They do not give it to the person that, let's say, is a decent, black, upstanding pillar of the community in an African society. No, they give it to their friends and the other people that they have obligations towards. This is true even in capitalist nations. Like, if you look at America right now, who are the people receiving the most of the stimulus package? Well, the people that have done lobbying, the people that grease the wheels. Look in my country. There was a stimulus package for judges, lawyers, and other people affiliated with the judicial, industry. And you think about it, like, why is this? Like, what do they really need money? Like, right now, are their jobs in jeopardy? Do they like? No. But what happens is that the party that's in power has a lot of members that happen to be part of the judicial industry. So they're getting money, right? Because, well, self-interest. And you see this time and time again. Like, you'll see a lot of stimulus package, and there's like a group of people that you look at it, like, why are they receiving cash? It makes absolutely no sense. And then it's like, oh, because maybe their voting base is also voting for the party that proposed the stimulus package. Or within that party, a lot of members are part of that community. And this is why I do not trust socialism. It's like, yeah, give money to the government to redistribute it for you. It will never redistribute it properly, because the government is made out of human beings that have the same interests as you, except you do not have the power to get away with that shit. And you look at corporations, and it's the same thing. Like, look at an IT company, and most of them function the same, right? The people that are actually producing, like take a video game company, the people that are actually the engine of the company, the developers, they are the ones that are always being oppressed, like made to work 12, 14, 16 hours a day if possible. Crunch those numbers, my child, crunch them hard. And they have the open office, they're always micromanaged, they're always supervised. And on top, you have the parasites. You have the HR ladies that have never coded anything in their life. You have the diversity department. You have the marketing team. You have the judicial, you know, the legal experts and whatnot. And then you have like the upper management. But those are like the people that rarely get fired, rarely get a pay cut, rarely get to experience any hardship or have to work like 14 or 12 hours a day to crunch those numbers. When is the last time a diversity officer had to work 14 hours a day? And you know, like, this is the way wealth redistribution actually is in practice. It's the people that contribute less to society that are going to get money from the hardworking individual. And now it's going to be interesting to see if, you know, these companies that are registered in offshore or tax havens are going to receive more money. Because, like, the whole shtick is that we're all contributing, and when something bad happens, we redistribute the wealth. Wouldn't it be interesting if you see, like, companies that don't contribute at all also getting some of that wealth redistribution? Anyway, right, this is just me ranting away at things that I dislike. Anyway, yeah, no, the government should help the people out, but I think it should be the actual working class that gets the biggest amount of paychecks right now. Because you know, like, you cannot have an economy without people investing, without people consuming. Like, this is important. If you just give the banks money, and then the banks are going to also fuck the people over by demanding, oh yeah, you know, you have a credit, a mortgage on your house. If you cannot pay for the last 3 months, we're going to kick you out of the house. Well, now you have a homeless person. What is he going to consume? How is he going to produce to the economy? How is he even going to manage to get himself back up to the point where he can actually contribute? No, now, do you know what happens? Now he's on social welfare as well. Now he is also a detriment rather than a plus. I'm talking economically, like detriment in the way that he's now also requiring bailouts. So why not avoid this? Instead of, like, having millions of more unemployed, millions of homeless people, why not avoid it now? And instead of giving it to the big companies, which should have saved money for this anyway, why not give it to the people? Just a thought. You know, let me know what you think in the comment section. And again, this is not socialism, because the government told the people not to work. They ruined their business, so they have to pay damages for the businesses that they ruined.